Hi there. This is the Superwoman Entrepreneurs today. My name is Daphne Thompson, and welcome to our amazing group. We have Sylvia Ma and Suzanne Scarrow on board today. I think Tommy will also join a little bit later, as well as Annie. But we have the most phenomenal woman on today. And what we're going to chat about is how to actually have that differentiation between when you are working and when you should be having a work-life balance. What does that look like? How do you do that? Any entrepreneur knows that they're usually so much into their own stuff that they don't believe anyone else can do it the way that they can do it, which is probably true. Um, and that they are in a situation where they just cannot put their phone down or they can't not check an email. And that can be devastating to marriages. It can be devastating to relationships. It can be devastating to any type of outside work relationship. And it keeps you from having that creative breather, you know? I once had I read this story about Microsoft, I forgot what the guy's name was, but Microsoft, he, they were on their way down a different path, and that was just when the internet was starting to boom. And the owner of Microsoft completely took him out of the situation. He took a week-long break in order to regain himself, start thinking about new things, and got back into it. And like, hey guys, the internet is the next best thing. This is what we're going to do. And he realigned his business. And we everyone know that Microsoft is a phenomenal business right now. Sylvia, thank you so much for joining. Sylvia,
Yes.
Suzanne, and Tommy, would you guys please introduce yourself and just thank you for joining us today?
Awesome. So I'm Dr. Sylvia Ma. Hi, everyone. And I am a venture capitalist and impact investor in the space of female entrepreneurs and BIPOC founders. So I only invest in female-led businesses and, of course, BIPOC founders, and the markets and the industries that they go into, or the products that they have developed, have to have some kind of impact behind it. I love deep tech as well. So I'm a STEM girl at heart. So love that as well. But, I've done a lot of CPG businesses, that's consumer product goods companies. And so I've been doing that for about 15 years. Being an investor, I have 65 plus companies in my portfolio. And I'm kind of like the business strategy expert here on the group, and servant leadership expert as well. So how do you do return on investment as an investor and return on impact as an entrepreneur or investor, saying how do we lead with servanthood and then also business model? It's more of like, how do we really bring the products to market that really make sense to the customer and to the market that you're going to go into? So that's me in a nutshell. This topic is very near and dear to me because I am completely not the person who takes time off, but I believe so wholeheartedly into work-life integration. So I don't really turn off too much. I try, right? But I know that by integrating my personal life and my business life, I'm able to really have a really great impact on both of them. My kids know that I'm a working mom. Like, sorry, mommy has to work, but like, come alongside me. I've taken my son to Japan when I had to go do a conference in Japan. We had the best time. When I have events, I'm like, come on in. You have to like do the photography of it, or you have to check in people. So they know that it's not me against them. It's more of all of us working together so that the whole family benefits. And then on the weekends when they want me as a mom, I am 100% a mom. Like, I don't do work. I'm 100% with them, owning all the awesome memories that we're building. So that's kind of why I do the work-life integration. Balance, not so much, right? But that integration piece is super important to me. So that's kind of what I bring to the table here today.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Suzanne Scarrow, and I'm from Cairns in far north Queensland, Australia, and I'm a psychologist. I guess my expertise is actually in mindset, so dealing with whatever emotional blockages my clients have and clearing those, because I think people go through life really not knowing that they can be clear of those limiting beliefs and those things that hold them stuck. So that's my passion, to clear those blockages and break through that barrier for people. And I am reasonably good at separating my work and my the rest of my life, but not perfect, because I think now, since we all, or most of us, I do certainly, work from home, it's really difficult. Like, there's a point at which I'm out of my office, which is right here, and then I'm in my home. So it's really tricky to leave all the techno stuff in this side of the building and get over there where I'm not really thinking about work stuff. It's a tricky process, but you've got to just make that commitment to yourself, I think. So that's me. Thank you.
Hi, is that my turn? Hi, this is Tomi Abibu, and within this amazing Superwoman group, I'm the clarity and growth expert. And my aim is to help you declutter, get unstuck, so that you can have the free mind to understand what your vision is and what your goal is. And I specialize now on, once you're able to understand what your goal is and understand where you're going, then you can have an idea about your business. You can have an insight on an awareness of where you want your business to go. So I help with working with your brand, you getting clarity in your brand through a media, through marketing. There's so many things that you can do, but I bring that engagement, connection between yourself and also your target market. Now, when it comes to the topic for today, with regards to being able to separate work and life, I think at the moment, I'm doing both at the same time. So 1 minute I'm on my laptop working, and the next minute I'm attending to my kids. So I'm aware of them, that they're around, but it's just, I can't 100% leave the work that I do right now because it's all at the early stages. I've got my team, but I'm still needed on a daily basis with regards to getting the proposals out there to businesses, creating those connections. I'm still needed in the business for that. So with regards to separating at the moment, I'm not 100%. I would say for me, I do both at the same time. I don't necessarily separate it, but I do both at the same time, which I understand that it's not great, but I'm not at the moment where I can leave 100% the work for my team and do something else. So it's more of having that right balance, and so that none of those aspects of my life suffers in any shape or form. That's me done.
Hi,
So go, Ami.
can you hear me, ladies?
Mm-hmm.
Yay! It's been such a big problem the last couple of days, so that's great. And I'm happy that I made it today despite all these tech problems. So I'm Annie, and I work in immigration in Canada, and I help people to come to Canada. And I love my job because it's a big, it's a job that involves problem solving and helping other people. But above all, I love running business. And to this topic, I will say I am the worst. My job takes over my life, which I love, because I love to work and I love to help the people that I'm working with. And I love when they call me, and I love to chat with them on the phone about what they're doing. And I think my calls probably go a little bit too long for that reason, but it impacts my family, and that is a problem. So I recognize that there are times where I even have had to say to my partner, like, this is me. This is just who I am, and this is how it's going to be. So you're going to have to get used to it a little bit. I try to make some changes, though, to accommodate my family because I want to keep them. I love them as well. So, but it's a huge challenge, and I'm always looking for tips and tricks on how to make that balance happen. And I would say there are times where I'm really good at it, and there are times where I'm really, really bad at it. Overall, I would say I'm kind of somewhere in the middle, but I'm definitely that person who's always doing that one more email or one more check, or, you stop the car. The first thing I do is respond to all the people. So, and my son notices, he says, how come you have to check your phone every time you stop the car? So it is something that impacts him, I'm realizing now. And so again, that's a thing that I have to change, or I don't, you have to put it in check and change it in some ways, but then at the same time, that's part of what makes me a successful business owner, because that's part of my service, is that I do get back to people really instantly and I really support them, and that's a bit my niche. So it's finding a way to make that balance for everybody. So one of the things I will do is thank my son for the time and make sure that he then gets some time. And just reminding myself, putting a check and balance on myself. Okay, you're getting out of control here. You need to reel it back in. You need to set your phone down. It's dinner time. Your phone can't actually go aside. Your client will live for an hour. It is a serious problem for me. Like, I would like to just check and respond right now. If it dings when we're on here, it's like, my phone is dinging and someone might need me. So it's definitely a serious thing for me, but I bet there are a lot of owners out there who are facing the same thing and are looking for those tips and tricks on how to manage that, wanting to have 0 emails at all times, wanting to have 0 texts at all times, wanting to make sure their clients are really well looked after, but still balancing their family and other, going out to dinner with a friend and making sure you're not on the phone the whole time. So I'm open to anybody here. If you have good tricks for me, good tips, good strategies, I want them.
Tracy, would you introduce yourself and just, I know you just came in late. We're chatting about, I'm sure you know what we're chatting about, but our topic today is how to create work-life balance in order to actually have a life as an entrepreneur and break through that entrepreneurial jail of almost survival mode.
Good morning, everybody. I have to laugh because this is something that we're as women entrepreneurs we're always struggling with, and sometimes that we need to give ourselves a little break because it's not all entirely our fault. So just let me give you some background. I'm Tracy. I am in Tokyo. It's very early in the morning here, and I'll be honest, I've got an eye infection, so I've got my camera off because I'm not looking real pretty today. Yeah, but I'll survive. I'll get there. What I do, I run multiple businesses, and it's very hard to keep them siloed, and then also have a life. And I think this is something that we're always struggling with, because we might be there in body, but our brains are probably working hard on something else in the background. So I just think we all need to be mindful that this is our lot in life, but we can make it a little bit easier on ourselves, but by not feeling so guilty, by not getting it right all the time, and just doing our best all the time. And I think other women see us, and other women know that the struggle is real, and being supportive of each other just really does help, because society out there does has a lot of expectations on women that are not on men, for example. So I've been interviewed a number of times in the press, and people people say, how do you balance the businesses that you run and the family? And I always push that back a little bit and say, are these the same questions that you ask men? Because it's not. Women are expected to be the main nurturers, and to be the main, running the household and chief everything officer. And then when you are CEO of your own company as well, you've got to have all of those roles and have that sort of masculine energy in your in the way that you do things. So I don't think there's one easy answer. I just think we're all going to do the best we can, and have some grace and be kind to each other, because we're all we've all got our own struggles. But just doing the best we can is really just the way forward, I think. Yes, there are some individual tips and tricks. Not that I've tried them all. Some work for me, some don't. As I think as well, I have some neuroatypical things that challenges. I'm a little bit ADD, and I jump from thing to thing, and then of course there's the whole imposter syndrome and guilt, and the more I go through life and the more I talk about this, I recognize that we're all struggling with this, and what we can do is just help each other out. And when you see someone struggling, is to offer a kindness and a helping hand rather than a criticism. So that's just my 2 cents for this morning. I'll yield the mic.
Thank you
Can
so
I
much,
add
Jason.
something? Can I add something, Daphne?
Of course.
Yeah, I just want to add one lesson that I learned not too long ago. I did mention, I think it was 2 weeks ago, that I was ill for a couple of weeks, and it was some sort of like a viral infection, but it wasn't COVID. However, what happened to me during that time was that I didn't have the ability to worry. My mind was, I could work, my brain could work, but I couldn't think. I couldn't stress. So if say for example an issue come up, there wasn't that thing in my brain that allowed me to think about it or meditate on it or stress about it. So during that time when I was ill, I couldn't stress. It wasn't, my brain just couldn't handle it. Now, when I came out and I was well, I look back, I'm like, those 2 weeks were the most I've actually been stress free. The fact that my mind and my brain couldn't do anything, like it was literally empty, that I didn't have the ability. I don't know what happened, maybe affected my brain somehow, but I just couldn't think. I just couldn't meditate on stress. I couldn't stress about anything, no matter how the issue was. And I realized, oh my goodness, I was so free. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I think that at this stage in our lives, we have to come into agreement that, we're going to live our life. We're going to have to enjoy it, right? And there is no point stressing over anything. Whatever happens, whether you're able to spend time, I don't know, with the family or at work, just don't meditate on it. Don't think about it. Just live your day as a normal human being and enjoy every single moment. If you're able to spend time with your family, fine. If you're not able to spend time at work, life goes on. So my take is that moment was the time where I was so free in my mind. And when I realized it, I'm fine now, as you can see, as I'm speaking, but I've just realized that what has happened has made me so stressful in the past was the fact that I was thinking and meditating over work issues, one issue or the other. So if we can just try and let go of issues on our mind and just take each moment and each day, I think we would be more happier and feel more, be more free, basically. Just wanted to add that.
I tend to agree with that. What I find what happens a lot with us is then we actually become our own bottleneck. We are the person that is your greatest enemy. We're the ones that go, all right, well, no, you can't send that out yet because I have to look at it. No, you can't make that decision because I'm scared you're going to make the wrong decision. So also, if we are in a situation where we are forced to let go, for example, Tommy, you were not feeling well and you couldn't do anything else. We went to Mexico and I deliberately did not put roaming on for a week. How did that affect the team? Yes, beforehand, I did make sure, I did try and plan for that. So the month beforehand, over the reporting period and invoice period, I was just not available for a day. And then I was just not available for 2 days. And as that grew, the team kind of already structured themselves to be prepared for it for when we weren't there. Of course, in the background, I was looking at everything they're doing, or I tried to, not. But they were able to handle everything. And by the second second 2.5, like the third day, I wasn't checking. And that actually made me realize that they are able to do things. Yes, they might not be in a situation where they do everything the way that I want to do it, but at least they're doing it about 80% correct. And yeah, sometimes the like in Afrikaans we say die pap val op die vloer. Sometimes your like what you put in your plate just falls on the ground. Like last week we had a little issue like that. But stuff happens. And it doesn't mean that everything went to pieces. We've been getting really great feedback on what we are doing. We are still generating content. We are still generating these things. So I believe in a situation like this, is we kind of do need to put ourselves deliberately in a situation to break free. That creates a system where your team can step up, that show them that you actually trust them, and it proves to you that you can take that break and rejuvenate yourself and be able to get those creativeness back and to learn and to grow yourself. Otherwise, you never actually get to that point. Sylvia,
Yeah, I had that same thing. I had COVID between August and September, and this like literally like only like 30 days ago. And I was really sick for about 20 days. Like that's a significant amount of time. I was freaking out I was super sick the first couple of days. Like the first 5, I was like, I am going to die. Right. Because I have asthma and stuff like that. So I was literally inhaling through a straw, it felt like, and the pressure was horrible. So it was definitely COVID. But when I kind of was able to kind of be able to be myself again a little bit and had to quarantine, I couldn't think longer than 45 minutes. I think that, Tomi, you probably had that same thing. But my mind was like on fire. Like I was like putting things together, and I'm trying to build out a female angel academy or institute for female angel investors, because I get asked so many times, how do I start? How do I start? What is angel investing? So I'm always being asked that. And I basically said, I had the time to go through all of my PowerPoints, put them, open them all up, and 45-minute chunks of time before I got a headache, I was able to really create, because I didn't have my texts. I didn't have my emails. I didn't have anything. And I was like, wow, I'm on fire. And I just kept on going. Now, afterwards, I've shown some people that the Institute is like a 12 module thing. Who knew, right? And like, you did this during COVID? And I'm like, yeah, because I had that creativity back. Like I was able to think outside of like the constraints of 1 hour meetings, even though we are on a Zoom or a call right now, and we have a limited amount of time to talk about it. I was just like able to think really critically, really openly, without any constraints at all. And it was like, wow, I did good, right? So it was forced. And I don't think I could really, even right now, if I say, okay, well, how can I recreate that? I really don't know how I could recreate it. So taking on certain things, like when you do have that creativity over the weekend or taking off a Friday, you might wake up on Saturday morning going like, wow, my brain's on fire, and be that creative person, right? So that work-life balance piece and integration, that's why I say integration is like, how do we get to that? And recreating it is going to be a little bit difficult for me, let's say, but I'm now aware that that's what happens when I take time off. And I'm like, wow, that was powerful, right? And listening to your own body is super exciting and super, worthwhile.
Suzanne, you actually have quite a bit of advice for this. Would you mind leaning in?
Yeah, I really love what you two are saying about this time that you had to take off, because therein lies the lesson. If you could just give yourself that gift, and, hopefully not for 3 weeks at a time or 2 weeks at a time or whatever it is, but more, a couple of hours in the day or a couple of a day in the week or something like that, smaller chunks, and actually just give yourself that time to do nothing and see what happens and be well at the same time. Wow. How would that be? I mean, what Tomi was saying originally about that time, when you're not focused on all that negative stuff, you're actually allowing yourself that rest. Your mind gets a rest in that period of time. And that's why it can come to that creative burst, which is just brilliant. So if you could give yourself the gift of that on a regular basis throughout the week, even if it's just half an hour, even if it's just a period of time where you say, okay, for this part of the day, I try to do it in the middle of the day because that's sort of in between client time. Sometimes I'll just go for a walk, or sometimes I'll just sit or meditate or whatever it is, but just giving yourself that regular time just to give your mind the rest. Because when you do that, you take all the resistance out. You stop worrying about all those things. I guess the other thing that I want to say too, and this comes back to what Annie said before about I'm always on, and that's a problem with the family and so on, is figuring out what the driver of that is. So if you know why you have to be always on, and generally it will be a fear. If I'm not on, I might lose these clients or whatever. And then I would suggest that you tap and clear the fear, because you can clear that fear. You don't have to carry that with you. And it's not exactly true, because you provide much better service to your clients than maybe you think about that you do. And so the clients aren't going to disappear. They might just have to wait for half an hour or an hour or whatever it is, but they will still be there, still looking for you. They'll come back. And if they don't come back, they weren't meant to be your client anyway. So, but figure out what the driver is for that fear. So I'm going to be quiet now because I know we're running out of time.
So yeah, I think we all have identified quite a few of the challenging points that all of us are facing, which means if we're facing it, all the other entrepreneurs are facing exactly the same thing, maybe just the context differs. So can we go and give, as a closing, just one tip on how to achieve this complete breakaway from our work life, to rejuvenate and to actually get that creativity back, and to self-development and all the things that we actually want? Even have some awesome sexy time with your spouse. Please do let us know what is your specific tip on how to achieve that. Sylvia, can we start with you?
Yeah, for me, it is changing pace or changing where you are. So I love nature, and sometimes I need to go. I sometimes would love to have a walk in nature, but that's like taking my car and then walking and then coming back. And it's too long with the dogs and the dog. Just like hopping outside, like just saying, hey, take a 15, 30-minute break and pop outside in nature. It's just that shift, and breathing in and not having your phone reminds you, right? And then by the end of the day, you're like, oh, I have to do that again because that actually felt really, really good. So that's my 2 cents there of just popping out in nature. It just kind of really grounds you.
Suzanne.
And even if you can't actually get out in nature, to actually in your mind be in nature. So close your mind, imagine a beautiful place in nature that you've been. That's enough to give your mind that rest. So, yeah, I've got 1,000 things tripping through my mind, but I'll pass it over to Tommy.
Yeah, what I do, and I do it like on a daily basis, is after every single milestone or project, and anything I'm working on, I always get up and take a break. I always get up. So if I had to create a document or a proposal, for example, once I complete that, I don't get into something else. I just get up from my chair, take a walk, go and have coffee. You know, I mean, when I'm at home, I put on the TV, just watch a little bit of a sitcom or something like that. Once I have that mental break, then I go back to my laptop, and that's what I always do every single day. I don't go from work to work. Once I finish one, I just take a break immediately, and by the time I'm back, my brain feels a lot more refreshed.
Yeah, so I would say that my routine is the same, in that once I'm starting to feel a little bit too bogged down, I go for a run. And that it does give you enough time to freshen up so that you can come back to work with a fresh set of eyes, a refreshed brain, and then you can go back at it. And it's a little bit of time just for me to unwind. I may still be thinking about work, but it's physical. So for me, that's really beneficial. But the one thing that I find freeing and that I don't use enough is the auto response on the email that tells people I'm not at my desk, I'm away. So I will get back to you, but it's not going to be right now. And I'll set the hour when I will be back, whether it's in the afternoon or if it's the next day. And I wish I used this more. I can't figure out how to make it go from my cell phone. But if I'm in my laptop, I do use that, and I do find that that gives me the confidence to set down the email or phone. I may still respond, but at least then I know I have the option for certain clients in certain situations. And especially in this business, we often are getting requests from the government that you can't just abandon, but at least you can then decide, okay, I'm going to answer the one government request today. I'm not going to answer all the other ones, and everybody knows that I'm just not available. So that's my trick.
My trick, and it's always still a work in progress, is that I try to have very clear boundaries set for myself, and also teach other people what they are, communicate those, and also teach them that to uphold them. But then that lesson also has to come back to me. Once I've set a boundary of I'm available between this time and this time, when people come at other times, I'm such a people pleaser that I can't help myself. But I've also got to recognize that I will burn out if I don't uphold my own boundaries. So, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect system, but I try to do that. And also another thing is that with my family, I've actually made a plan to go away without them. I love them, but I try to get away without them for an overnight. I'm actually going on a solo walk in about 2 weeks' time, just again to clear my head, to get away, to turn off my phone. But I have, but because so many people rely on me and I'm not alone in that. For women, a lot of people do rely on us. We do have to actually, say what we want, declare it out loud in advance, and say, this is what's happening. You make your plans around that because these are my hard deadlines or my hard boundaries, and uphold them for yourself, and also teach other people to uphold them for you too. So yes, that's my final tip for today, and I yield the mic.
That's awesome. I love it because I actually can't add anything to what you guys are saying because I live exactly all of that. I absolutely love it. I usually don't go away for myself, but I do send my husband away for a bit. But so I truly believe that this is easier when you've got the right support around you. When you've got the team that supports you in doing all of these things. I know for solo entrepreneurs, it is a working process and you will get there. It is just about what systems can you put in place and how can you empower your team in order to make those decisions on your behalf. And that's really how I try and live up to having the work-life balance, is to truly, truly empower my team to do as many tasks, but also to take responsibility of the outcome of those. That's how I try and establish it, that I am not needed. I do not want to be my own bottleneck. I would like the company to scale. I want to do all these things, but I cannot do that if the ego is so driven on me. And that's how I try and negotiate my free time, by empowering my team. And that is it for us for today. So thank you so much, guys, for being part of this. Please do follow us on our Facebook page, Superwomen Entrepreneurs. Join our group, Superwomen Entrepreneurs. On Instagram, Superwomen Entrepreneurs. And on Clubhouse. I've been streaming this live on Clubhouse as well. So, guys, we are there. Join our club. And we are officially live on our website. So we will definitely be putting that in the links. Join us on our website and join our Superwoman Entrepreneurs Global Mastermind. We are live and we'd love to welcome you into the community and meet each and every one of you. So, guys, until next time, thank you so much. Ladies, I'm so looking forward to meeting each and every one of you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.